All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am Is There No One Else, and the video I'm bringing you today, we are going to go through my Stamina Dragonknight build for the Markarth patch and into the future. Now, I've had a lot of fun with this build. I've done a lot of different testing, a bunch of different things to try out. I'm going to go through all of it. I'm going to go through my explanation for why I'm running what I'm running, the choices that I made, different options for you guys, because let's be honest, we all play on different platforms. We all play in different areas, CP, no CP, all these other sorts of things. And so the choices that I make would be different than the choices that you make. And it's good to talk about those so that you guys can kind of at least see my decisions and, know what I would do if I were in your shoes in a different sort of area. So we're going to dive through all that. We're going to go through on the, we're going to go on the path that is the Is There No One Else diatribe of explanations, but I figured this video I'm just going to show you everything. The last couple of videos I've showed gameplay, so if you guys want to see the skill layout, it's right there. I'll just go through the gear real quick and then we'll go through the explanation afterwards. So for those of you guys that just want to see the gear, here we are. Vatashran's Maul sharpened, back bar Daedric Trickery, 5-piece double dot poisons, 2-piece Balorg, and 4-piece Witch Knight. So 2 jewelry Witch Knight with 2 body pieces. So we're going to run the 4-piece, back bar 5-piece, 2-piece Balorg, and the front bar Vatashran 2H, 5 medium, 1 heavy, 1 light for the 5-1-1 passives, medium armor build, yada, yada, yada. That's the stuff you want to know. We are a stage 3 vampire. We are running Lavafoot, Soup, and Saltrice right here. And as far as potions go, we are running the armor pots, the health, stamina, and armor pots for physical resistance, or immovable pots, depending on the fight that you're getting into. So yeah, that's the down and dirty for it. Now let's dive into everything and why we're choosing what we're choosing. So first of all, I am a vampire. I have 2 different stam DKs. I have an Imperial and I have an Orc. This is going to be the Orc layout. I will go through what you do on different races for as far as enchants and everything. But yeah, movable pots, armor pots are really nice. Stamina classes hit a lot harder than Magicka classes. I think that's pretty universally known. So having the physical resistance is quite nice. We don't have a bunch of Magicka dump skills on our bar, so tripods aren't as valuable on this build. You can absolutely run tripods though. 100% you can. I just like the armor pots a little bit more for that reason. You just mitigate snipe a little bit more. You mitigate sub Donnies, all those other sorts of things. Vatashran Maul, what's to be said about something that's so beautiful and so perfect? This is just a great set. If you can get into Vatashran's Hollow on normal, get in there, get them all. Perfected, you get the line of stamina, but even the imperfected, it's so nice. While momentum is active, casting stamina abilities generates a stack of frenzy momentum for 20 seconds, increasing your weapon damage by 38 up to 5 times. So just under 200 weapon damage for the set. Your next heavy attack will consume all stacks and release a violent explosive energy around you, dealing 12,510 physical damage to all enemies within 8 meters. So it's an AoE explosion around you, anything over a light attack. A light attack is just a quick flick of the button. So this is a light attack. Anything more than that, a medium weave like that will proc it. A slightly heavier one, a full heavy attack. This will all proc the Vatashran's 2H. It is very, very powerful. Very, very nice set. It's a very nice set. The other thing is it goes over to your back bar. So if you do a medium weave on your back bar with your bow, you will also proc it. Got to be a little bit careful with that. You want to make sure people are around you if you do something like that. But yeah, it's a very nice piece. It's definitely worth having on your bar. This will hit for 3 to 5k on most opponents. 3 to 5k doesn't seem like a lot, but you combine that with, a 3 to 5k medium weave with another ability, and all of a sudden, you're chunking 10k damage, and they're at a point where you can use an ultimate into an execute, and they're dead. So if you don't have it, go get it. It is a great weapon. It is a must slot. This is a better weapon than it's a better set than Balorg is, because it gives so much. Now, back bar, we are running Daedric Trickery. I am running Nirnhone because I'm running Poison Injection on the back bar, as you guys have seen in the video. Trickery is a great set. I've run it on a few other builds already. You guys know this. If you guys have been watching my channel and you guys have been watching some of my gameplay, Trickery is one of my new favorite sets. I think it's a great set for a few reasons. So if you guys haven't seen it, it's a crafted set. 2-piece health, 3-piece stamina, 4-piece max magicka, 5-piece. When you deal damage, you gain one of 5 random major buffs for 21 seconds. So when you stack this, you get a 21-second buff, and you can get a new buff every 9 seconds. So that means you can have up to 3 major buffs at the same time, typically 2. The eligible buffs are Major Expedition, which makes you faster, Major Protection, which is 10% damage mitigation, Major Mending, which is 10% more healing, Major Heroism, which is ulti gen, and Major Vitality, which is also healing. So regardless of whatever buff you get, all of these buffs are defensive. So either you're going to be faster, you're going to take less damage, you're going to heal more, or in the DKs, from a DK's perspective, the Major Heroism builds to our sustain. So if we get the Heroism, we're going to get our ult faster, which is going to generate resources faster, which means we get to our Burst the Ultimate, which means we can kill people faster. This is a fantastic set for DK. It's a fantastic set for everybody, but the fact that it doubles as survivability and sustain on a Dragonknight, Stamina, or Magicka makes it even better. Now, it says when you deal damage, you can light attack to proc this on the back bar, or you can have dots rolling. So if I run a dot on my front bar and I go to my back bar and I'm off a cooldown, when the dot procs while I'm on my back bar, I will proc this. So Volatile Armor, Poison Injection, Noxious Breath, my double dot poisons, Claw, all of these things can proc this basically off of cooldown when I go to my back bar. So as long as I pop my armor buff and I have people on top of me and I have to kite around, every 9 seconds I'll get the armor buff or the major buff. This is a fantastic set. It got changed this last patch. A lot of people I've talked to a lot of people about this patch, and I guess they didn't know it got adjusted. They're like, oh, 1 major random buff. No, it's 2, sometimes 3. Mad Hatton and Lobo, they did some combat metrics in a fight that they had with Daedric Trickery on DKs, and they said they had roughly 50%-ish uptime on all of the major buffs. So yes, it is RNG, but you get pretty good uptime, and the fact that all of them help you defensively makes this a great set. The other thing is it can be backbarred, and so there's not many great backbar defensive sets in this game, and the back bar set allows you to run a mythic, which means you can either stack more damage or more recovery or all these other sorts of things. It's a great set. Now, when you think about this patch, also, a lot of people are running heavy. And why is that? Because they're running procs. They want increased healing. They want tankiness. They want survivability. Daedric Trickery is all of that. You get increased healing. You get 10% damage mitigation. You get all this sorts of survivability. Daedric Trickery on the back bar is more tanky than most heavy armor sets that you'll run. So this is what allows you to potentially run medium armor if you want to run medium armor in this type of meta. Yes, medium armor isn't great in no CP. So if you're running no CP, you can make this heavy. Daedric Trickery is crafted. You can run heavy monster set. You can run 5 heavy, 2 medium really easily. You can switch out the 4-piece Witch Knight to another set, and I'll show you. And you can run 5-1-1, 5 heavy, 1 light, 1 medium. I'll go through that too. You can make this heavy if you choose, but medium works out really well. I want medium for the damage mitigation with shuffle, for the snare removal, but you don't necessarily need it. So if you guys are looking at this and you're like, oh man, medium, I'm not going to run medium, that's a garbage set for what I do, I get it. Run it in heavy. So yeah, we're running the bow on the back bar because I've run a few tanky sets this patch. I've run a few Sword and Board 2H builds, and they're good. I've run 7th and Alessian. I've run Trickery and 7th, Trickery and Clever on a Stam DK. They're all good. They're all good setups. They all work really well. The problem is in the fights that I engage in, I can tank 5-10 people for a long time on those sets. And my snare removal, I'm typically running Race Against Time. Eventually, if there's a snare person in that group, they're going to drain me of my Magicka. I'm going to get locked down in place, and they're going to ulti dump me with a bunch of different things. I'm going to eat so much damage from 10 people, I just can't survive. And so what I found when I was running 7th Legion and Clever Alchemist with Malakath backbar is my Venomous Claw and my Noxious were shredding people. They were absolutely shredding people. If you guys are playing Stam DK and Heavy Armor, you know this. You already know this. But it's so much damage, and I was like, holy crap. Can I be tanky enough in medium armor with Daedric Trickery and also stack another dot on top of it with Poison Injection and double dot poisons? So when I light attack Poison Injection on the back bar, I can proc this. So not only do I have Poison Inject rolling, I have double dots rolling. So I have lots of dots getting procced on this. That's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure when you're running Malakath. 2-piece Balorg, and like I said, 5 light, 5 medium, 1 light, 1 heavy. The reason we're running 4 Witch Knight, and there's a few options you can go here. You can go, I did 2 things when I was well, actually I did more than 2 things, but I did a bunch of different tests. If you're backbarring a 5-piece and running a mythic, I think Malakath is just the way to go. You'll see my character sheet. I only have 20% crit chance They adjusted crit. Crit is so low that unless you're getting 40%-ish crit, you're better off typically just running Markarth. When you're running a bunch of dots, Markarth is great for pressure builds. Markarth is fantastic when you're running a ton of dots because it's going to constantly tick a lot of pressure. If you have decent crit chance, your crits are going to crit harder than what Markarth's like burst will give you. But that's why we're running Markarth. But yeah, so I'm backbarring a 5-piece, and then I'm wearing Markarth ring. And so the options are to run a 5-piece on the body, which for me, I ran Titanborn and I ran Morag Tong, and they were both good. I found Titanborn to be better when people are at 32k resistances. Titanborn buffs everything. Morag Tong only buffs your poison dots. Morag Tong is right here. I really wanted to make Morag Tong work. It's not as much damage when people are at 32k resist as Titanborn is, and Titanborn buffs your leap and your D-swing and all the other things, your light attacks. So Titanborn was just the better set. So you can run 5-body Titanborn, which leaves you one monster set, one monster piece. So you can run 1-piece Balorg with 5 Titanborn, and your dots are going to hit really hard. Or you can run 4 Witch Knight with 2 Balorg. And I've talked about this in the past on my channel. Balorg is essentially the strength of a 5-piece armor set. And so I'm going with the 4-piece of Witch Knight, which is weapon damage, weapon damage, weapon damage. And then essentially my 5-piece is Balorg. So I'm essentially running a 5-piece set this way. I'm just getting a ton of weapon damage. If you don't have Witch Knight, or if you don't want to buy it, you could absolutely craft stun. I don't think I have stun on me. Stun is weapon damage, pen, weapon damage. I went with the Witch Knight because I do occasionally go corrosive on the back bar, and the pen on stun isn't as valuable. But if you're running a different class, you know, stun would give you more damage. Witch Knight gives you a little bit more healing. Any sort of healing you can get in medium armor is very valuable. But like I said, you don't have to run 4-piece Witch Knight. You can run 5 Titanborn. You could run Spriggans here. You could try Clever Alchemist. I did want to try my hands. I didn't want to try Pestilent Host. I thought Pestilent Host would be good, but I don't have the necklace. There's a few different options you can choose here for a body set, but I thought the 4 Witch Knight essentially comes down to this. Witch Knight and Balorg will give you more burst. Titanborn will give you more pressure. And so I opted for the more burst. That's why I'm running Balorg. Is that the best option for you? You're going to have to try both and find out for yourself. But that's why I went what I went with. All impen. I'll go through that in a minute. Basically, there's bombers and snipers. They hit me harder than just about anybody else. I'm going to wear a ton of impen. If you're not getting hit by a ton of bombers and snipers, don't wear impen. Run well fitted, run reinforced, run whatever else you want. I got 2 infused weapon damage, and I have 1 robust with stamina recovery. This is an orc. On my Nord, I would go infused weapon damage here. Because on my Nord, I don't have a Nord anymore. I have Imperial. On my Imperial, I would go infused weapon damage here because it's more of a sustained class. So if you're running Nord, you could probably go either way. I think I would go robust recovery on a Nord. If you're running Dark Elf, I would go robust recovery. Orc, same way. If you're a Wood Elf or an Imperial, I would go infused weapon damage right here. Now you could run Bloodthirsty. I don't think you need Bloodthirsty. Not on this build. You could, but I like the extra healing. The healing power is extremely valuable on a DK, so that's why I'm going infused weapon damage here. But yeah, this choice right here depends on your race. You see, I got old Snaggletooth here. I got weapon damage built into my racial passives, so I need a little bit of recovery. That's where it's at, plus Lavafoot. As far as the character sheet goes, on the back bar, got 47 points in health, prismatics on all the big pieces, preferably all of them. 17 in stamina. We want around 28, 29, 30k health. Yeah, that's just my preferences. We still hit plenty hard. You see on my back bar, I have 25% crit. That's because I'm running Cauterize on the back bar. 34 resistances. When I buff up right here, I got 21 and 17. I am a stage 3 vampire. Now, I did drop down to stage 2 just now as I was starting this video. It happened while we're talking about it, but typically I run stage 3 for the Undeath passive. So if you guys don't know what Undeath is, we will go into here as follows. Undeath reduces your damage taken by up to 30% based on your missing health. This is a tremendous amount of tankiness. I've talked about it in other builds. I'm running stage 3 death on my mag DK as well. There's a few different ways to survive. You could definitely go the high HP recovery route with resistances and run a set like Alessian. You could survive that way, or you can run the damage mitigation route with something like stage 3 vampire. Obviously, when you go stage 3, it increases the cost of all your abilities, but Daedric Trickery doubles as a sustain set, so the major heroism will allow us to sustain this quite well. If you guys watch my clips, my sustain's good, my damage is good, survivability is good. It's a fun build. So yeah, that's why we're running stage 3 on death. Stage 3 on death, yeah, it just, you're in medium, you're going to take more damage. Your resistances aren't super high already, so you might as well get damage mitigation where you can get it. Vampire really works. And yeah, you can offset it because you're running Trickery on the back bar. So you get good healing, you get damage mitigation with Trickery, you get damage mitigation with Undeath, and you get the sustain with Trickery. That all adds up. I'm running the Serpent Mundus with Lava Foot, like I said, with 1 recovery. When we switch to our front bar and we pop Rally, you see we have 3867 weapon damage. It goes over 4k weapon damage, which is pretty good. With Balorg, 4500 with continuous, you know, just under 5k, somewhere, something like that. Doesn't seem like a ton of damage, but we're also running Markarth. Keep that in mind. 4k plus weapon damage with Markarth. It is a lot of dot pressure. It is a lot of burst damage. It really does add up. So recovery is good for running stage 3. Like I said, I'm running the crit resist IM because I'm running across bombers all the time. If you guys have watched my clips, I have another clip coming out tomorrow where I'm going to be fighting bombers again. If you're running across a bunch of acuity bombers that are, you know, running you down or outnumbered fighting you, and you're fighting 4 or 5 people and all of a sudden an acuity bomber comes in, that's why you run crit resist. If you're not running across that because you're in a different meta, that's fine. Adjust your crit resist as needed, but you have to adapt to what you're fighting against, and that's one of the things that's happening on Xbox NA, and it is hilarious. I honestly love it because, like I said, I like high damage metas. I love the kill or be killed aspect of it, and so if people want to run bombers and nuke me, that's fine. If they fail, I get to nuke them. It's a fun play style. I wish the game was more like that, but yeah, I'm gonna hop off that soapbox. We're gonna go back into the game. Serpent, yeah, we already went through that. As far as skills, we are running Executioner. This is just our execute, as you guys know. Venomous Claw. This is a tremendous amount of damage. It's 2 dots. It's the claw damage plus you get the guaranteed poison status effect, which also doubles the sustain for a DK. Rally, we're running shuffle on the back bar, so we get the heal here. Noxious Breath. This is another OK dot. OK dot, but it also reduces their physical and spell resistance by 59-48. So it's nice for that reason. You get the Major Fracture, Major Breach. Sorry, they changed it to Major Breach plus the dot. It's just another damage over time effect, plus, you know, another thing that they have to purge potentially with the Breach, D-Swing, and Take Flight. Now on the back bar, you can run a few different things here. I like Corrosive for a few reasons. Oftentimes this bugs out and people can't see it. You get full pen and you're hitting 9k D-swings on people and you just chunk their health bar. Really good at taking out tanks that just think they can stand there and all of a sudden they don't realize what's happening and then they're dead. You can do it for that, or it's great for survival. Really good for survival. All of a sudden you get jumped on, you can pop Corrosive, you take a lot less damage. Allows you to turn and burn when you got a bunch of people on you. This is another way to stay tanky on this type of build. We are medium, you know, we're not a heavy armor, thick boy, where we're running Spell Wall. We can run Corrosive. It offsets some of the negatives of running medium. Resolving Vigor, Poison Injection. Now, why are we running Poison Injection? Why are we running this skill when we're not running the Master's Bow? Thing is Poison Injection is not bad, guys. It's not a bad skill. If I buff up with Rally here, and I show you the tooltip, it's just under 10k damage over 10 seconds, buffed by Markarth. Plus, it does up to 100% more damage to enemies under 50% health. I have gotten 1800 to 2k poison inject ticks when people are in execute range below 50% health with this build. And so when you think about poison injection, if it's doing 1500 plus dot damage, that's a lot of dot damage for 1 dot. And then I'm running double dots on the back bar, and then I got my dots on the front bar. I have, with claws, 2 dots. Noxious is 3, poison injections 4, double dots makes 6. We have a lot of dot pressure with this build that opens up chances for burst. So you hit people with these dots, if their sorks and their shields drop, or if they're not diligent on their heals, all of a sudden they're at 60% health. You leap on them, you execute. Leap, if it goes unblocked, it guarantees a follow-up with an execute. It is a lot of damage coming in. That's why when you're watching the clips that I posted the last couple times, it just seems like everybody's dying really quickly. That's because the dots are hitting so hard that they don't really realize that their health is dropping the way that it is. The other cool part about dots is they're unblockable. And so when you're running across these permablock tanks and you dot them up, they start eating a ton of damage. and there's a lot more people that can be killed when you're running a dot spec like this than if you're running a pure burst spec. And so this isn't a bad dot. It's not amazing by itself. You know, I have to stack it with Markarth. I stack it with other dots so that it continues to tick. The other dots allow this to get to 50% a lot faster, and because it gets to 50% a lot faster, that's what makes this so much better. If you run poison injection by itself, it may or may not be good. Kind of depends on what spec you're running. It depends on how quickly you can get people below 50% to where you can really get it scaling. But overall, the dot's not bad for this specific build for that reason. And the reason we can run this is because we get major mending on our back bar already, and so we don't have to run fragmented shield. If you guys have been watching my clips, I'm not running fragmented shield. I'm in medium armor. I can't really sustain fragmented shield anyways. I'm running cauterize. So cauterize gives me a nice heal. This will heal me for 5 to 8k. Just a quick magicka dump. This is the only skill on my bar where I'm using magicka. And so if I get jumped on, I can cast this a few times so you guys know how cauterize works. The minute you cast it, you get the heal, and you can keep casting it. And it just allows you to kind of stay alive. So you can use this as a magicka dump. It works out quite well. Some people are going to say, hey, you know, else you're not running any of these passives, and so you're missing out on the 10% weapon damage. And I 100% am. You know, I'm not getting the 10%, I'm not getting major brutality, but I can't justify running any of these abilities over cauterize. So if you want the 10%, keep in mind, medium armor gives you 15%, so you already get more weapon damage just by being in medium than you would running heavy. But yeah, if you want to scale the weapon damage even higher, yeah, you could try and run Obsidian. I didn't like it as much. I couldn't sustain it as easily. It overlaps with Danger Trickery. Didn't work out very well. You could run Petrify. Petrify would work. Kind of expensive. I still like the survival. I'm just sacrificing the 10%. And as you guys can see from the clips, I don't need the 10% weapon damage. When I do pop Corrosive, I do get it there. If I'm running with Blap and Blap hits somebody with Fossilized, I do get it there. And so it's not all bad, but yeah, this is going to be the flex spot. If you really want to run something else, you could run Stone Fist here on the back bar. You could do that. You could run Molten Weapons for increased weapon, heavy attack damage, plus your major brutality. You could do that. I just think Cauterize is a better skill. But if you disagree with me and you think one of these other skills are better, then run that. You know, we're all different players. We all like different things. It's more than cool. Volatile Armor. This gives a dot to enemies in the area. This will buff our Danger Trickery. Like I said, I think this is just the morph that you got to use this patch. And then I'm running Shuffle. Now, Shuffle's my snare removal, and it's Major Evasion. Major Evasion is a very powerful skill, or a very powerful buff, 20% damage mitigation on all AoEs. It depends on who you're fighting. I've talked about this a lot in this video already, and I'm going to continue to pound this drum, but if you're in Battlegrounds and you're running across a lot of single target proc builds, if you're running across, you know, all the different Sheer Venom, Venomous Smite, all these Icy Conjure, all these builds or sets that are single target based, Shuffle isn't going to do anything for you. And I wouldn't advocate running this in no CP. I think this is better in CP. If you're in open world and the things that are killing you are bombers and sub-Donny spin to win builds from groups, if tethers are hitting you a lot, if a lot of people are trying to ult dump you with like leaps, all these other sorts of things, that's where Major Evasion really comes into play. That's where it really can add up. So I get 20% damage mitigation from AoEs for this. The way I look at it is, if I have somebody D-swinging my face off, I can dodge it or I can block it. It's telegraphed. It gives me time to normally react if the game works properly. It doesn't always do that, but I can block or dodge most single target abilities. I can't block or dodge snipe. That's its own thing. I wasn't going to be blocking probably if I got sniped desynced in heavy anyways, but those sorts of things I can kind of deal with this type of build anyways. I know how to deal with D-swing. I know how to deal with a Night Blade with surprise attack and in-cap and spec bow. I know how to deal with those things. And so their single target damage in an outnumbered fight situation isn't as big of a deal as 3 or 4 people rolling in with permafrost and Destro ults. So I run across the latter way more than the former. And so if you're involved in Battlegrounds and you run across these single target things, make this build heavy, you know, or run procs, run Crimson, run other sets that are better for those environments. This is more of a CP based build, outnumbered fighting against larger groups. We're fast. We can dodge attacks. We can block attacks. We're a little bit tanky. We have some damage mitigation. There's multiple different ways we can survive with this build. It's not just we're a thick boy, we hold block until we run out of resources. It's, oh crap, there's 20 people. We got some speed with Major Expedition. We got some speed with Danger Trickery. We can move around. We're in medium armor. We're probably faster than most people. We can avoid a lot of damage, which is typically better than mitigating it. But if people jump on us, you know, if we get hit by a bomber, if we get hit by a couple of wardens hitting us with sub Donnies, we're going to get 20% damage mitigation with Shuffle. If we have Major Protection up, we get another 10% on top of that. We also have stage 3 on Death. So we're thick enough to take some punches. We also have other ways to survive if we need to, if things get a little hairy, which is nice. Having those outs is what I like when I'm playing outnumbered PvP. Doesn't always work out the best for you, but that's why we're choosing what we're choosing. So yeah, if you're getting involved in sweaty duels, no CP battlegrounds, I wouldn't run medium. I wouldn't run medium in that type of environment. I'd rather go heavy. I'd rather go procs. I think that's pretty universally understood, but yeah, that's why we're choosing what we're choosing. Yeah. Typical passives. We all know that. Don't need to go through the passives. It looks like it's important. It probably is important. 66 Warlord, 1 in a Siphoner. You could put more in there if you want. 64 Mooncalf, 64 in a Tenacity, 66 Tumbling, 9 in a Shadow Ward. Like I said, I'm occasionally blocking. You can put a few points in here if you want. 32 in a Bless for increased healing, 81 Master at Arms, 64 Mighty, 27 Piercing, 66 in a Thaumaturge. Because we're running Markarth, Precise Strikes doesn't matter as much. We're not doing any crit damage. It'd only be crit healing. Our crit chance is only at 20%. Just doesn't matter as much. So I'd rather have the dot damage for that reason. 72 Ironclad, 59 into Resistance, 64 Hardy, 56 LA Defender, 19 into Quick Recovery. That's a CP that I have set up for it. As far as other options, like I said, if you don't want to go out and get Witch Knight, you can run Stun. I don't know if I have Stun on me. I did try Pale Order. I didn't think Pale Order was very good. I thought Markarth was way better. Titanborn, 5-piece Titanborn on the body is a great option. You could definitely run it Clever Alchemist if you want the weapon damage to increase for your increased healing. When you're running Clever Alchemist, not a medium armor build, your heals go through the roof. Clever Alchemist scale to Trickery is quite nice. Your healing will actually be really good while you have Clever Alchemist up. That's definitely a good option. But I do like the 4 Witch Knight with the 2 Balorg. So Balorg is great if you want to run another monster set because you already have enough damage, which you probably do. Other options you could run here, I wouldn't run Troll King because you already have the health recovery. I would look at something like Bloodspawn. The resistances would actually come in handy. Troll King, yeah, we're stage 3 vampire. It's not going to work very well. Malabeth would work, but we already get Major Vitality. There's nothing wrong with double dipping there because you get the heal also. So Malabeth wouldn't be a bad option. I think I would lean Bloodspawn though if you're not running Balorg. If you don't have the Vatashran 2H, and a lot of you will not, you can front bar a set like Titanborn. You can front bar a set. You could craft a set of Stun. Stun would honestly be really good on this. So you back bar Trickery. You front bar this with Markarth with 1-piece Trainee and the monster set of your choice. This is just, I think Vatashran is just better. And so I'd rather fit it this way. I'd rather run the 2 Balorg. I'd rather run the 4-piece with the Vatashran 2H with Markarth with the double dot poison. So that, I think, is all of it. This is a very fun build. It's pretty well rounded. You know, it's not going to be as good as procs. Procs are better. We've talked about this a lot. I don't like running procs. I have found a lot of success with this build. I've posted some good clips. I'm posting some more clips tomorrow. A lot of good damage. Poison Injection is solid with this type of build because we're just stacking so many dots. If you can get people below 50% pretty quickly, Poison Injection is going to tick quite nicely. It allows you to finish players. I've had it to where I fought Magsorks and their shields, some of their shields just can't stay up. They're so used to dealing with burst-based builds, they're not used to this kind of dot damage, and all of a sudden their shield goes down and then you leap and you execute them. There's a lot of builds where they're not expecting this kind of dot damage, this kind of dot pressure coming in, and you catch them really quickly. So all of a sudden you're weaving your dots, you get a Vatashran proc, you'll watch it on the clips that I posted, but I'll do a medium weave, Vatashran goes off with Poison Injection, and all of a sudden you have Vatashran, the initial dot for Poison Injection, the light attack, all this stuff goes off at the same time, and their health goes like from 100 to 70 or 60%. Then you leap on them, you guarantee an execute, you now have Poison Injection with all these dots. The leap is very buggy, it's tough for them to deal with, and you just have so much finishing power because you have the dots plus the burst damage. And so, yeah, that's why I'm running what I'm running. yeah, we're not going to do any footage in this video because I've already been posting footage. You guys can go back and look at the last two. I got another one coming out tomorrow. But yeah, that's the overall build. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. There are some options though. Like I said, if you don't have the Vatishran 2H, if you don't have these other sorts of things, you can go crafted really easily. Daedric Trickery is crafted, Stun is crafted. You just got to get your Markarth piece. That would be a more than viable build with this type of setup. The pen is quite nice when you're running these kind of dots. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, please provide in the section below and I will do my best to answer it. As always, thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.